Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, no discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That addition passes. And we'll go a little bit slowly, maybe.
They're down a little bit. We still got citizens comment.
Oh, we got a little to go.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
So,
Mayor Pro Tem, with that, I would make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
okay, we've got an agenda approval and a second on that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. The agenda is approved. We'll do our first citizens comment section. Anybody in the audience or online wishing to speak to the council? Please, if you're online, raise your hand. And anybody in the audience there wish to speak in the citizens comment section? Okay, Randy?
We have two members of the public attending online, and at this time, neither of them have raised their hand to speak.
All right, so with that, we'll close the first citizens comment section. We're to the consent agenda. Councilperson Rosa Pepe?
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
Second.
Do we have any discussion on the approval of the consent agenda? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Consent agenda passes. Now we're to our presentation. Helene, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm coming up.
All right.
Good evening. How is everyone today?
Good.
So I am Helene Jensen and I'm the Fathoms of Fun Royalty Director. I know that's a shock for everyone. And today we have our newly crowned royalty court, only 3 of them. One of them, Veronica, she is our queen this year. And I wanted to bring this up because we brought it out the last meeting. She's been 7 years, she's been on a royalty court, but here's some interesting fun bit of tidbit. Yesterday, her and her family flew on their way to Georgia to be on the Family Feud. Isn't that cool? So we have someone in Port Orchard that you'll see on the Family Feud. I don't know that when it's going to be aired. I think it was sometimes in the fall. So anyway, that's just something really fun. The girls are going to come up and they're going to introduce themselves. They're going to say their title, their names, and their platform. So come on up, girls. And then we're going to do our shameless plug and try to see if you want to buy some buttons from us. They're really cool. And then Sharon will get up and talk about the events that we have coming up this summer.
Hi, I'm Duchess Mia, and my platform was inclusiveness in the system. Thank you. Hi, I'm Senior Princess Savannah, and my platform was Jeeping, Leave No Trace.
Hi, I'm Junior Princess Hope, and my platform was on God's love.
So as you all know, we will spend the year doing events around the city, honoring us the very best we can through parades and different events that you'll be seeing us. So I just want to encourage you that when you have events coming up, as you all know, to please invite us and then let us participate because we love to roll up our sleeves and be a part of the community. So without further ado, I'll let Sharon come up and do her plug on Fathoms and the girls can go sell buttons and pins. And then I want to get a picture.
No, we'll have to ask. I told Sean I'd buy his.
How much are the buttons?
How much are the buttons?
$1.
Good evening, council members. Your mayor's not here for this photo op.
No.
Did you send him away?
Yes, we did.
Out of town.
Over there.
I would. How much are they?
Absolutely.
How much are they?
How are you?
$1.
Yeah, just one's fine.
Oh, it's like you add yours.
Thank you.
It's so cool.
You know, we didn't have one last year. Thank you.
Hello.
Do you all want to do a photo op
Need money?
down below?
Yes.
We've usually had you down below and the girls
Give you a
in with
file.
you.
I'll give you
Sure,
five.
why not?
Okay.
Already got one. Already got one. Hope. Hey, Hope.
Thank you so much.
Let me get these guys over here exchanging money.
You ready? It's up to you, Sharon.
Come on down. Come on down.
Well, definitely should put our buttons on
I think
first.
so.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a bad
Great
idea.
idea.
Thank you. Did you see my last email?
Happy I didn't stick myself.
Because I went home and looked at it. Yeah, so I need to correct the one that you've got.
Afterwards.
Are you all ready for summer?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Are you ready for the grand parade?
Absolutely.
How many of you like to walk and run? Boy, nobody's raising their hand. The Port of Bremerton raised their hand.
That's because we know
Yeah.
you too well.
We have our Siegel Splat Run coming up on April 8th at the Regional Community Park, along with our famous Easter egg hunt. And Ace from Irene's studio is going to be our wonderful Easter bunny this year. So they're going to have a nice setup for us. We're planning to stuff 6,000 eggs again. And we have several of the cadets coming to help. They love coming because they get free pizza. But those guys, their hands are so quick stuffing those eggs. I've saved all the egg cartons and they just do just like that and they're done. But we had 467 kids sign up last year for the hunt. That's ages 0 through 10. And we thought that was a really good turnout. I asked someone on our board last night if they wanted to blow the horn this year, because this is the famous horn that Judd Turner always blew at the start of the hunt. And my vice chair, John Hohall, he steps up to the plate and he says, I have a great air horn. I said, is it loud? And his wife said, it's really loud. So he's going to blow the air horn for the start of the race this year. So we're excited about that. So after our Easter egg hunt and our Siegel Splat Run, we're getting ready for the grand parade. We have the same traffic control company that's working with us, that worked with us last year. And they said, we loved you guys and we'll be back. So that was pretty awesome. I'm getting parade applications in, so I'm expecting all of you guys to do parade apps. The time that I remember so greatly from the review stand was watching you all come by as hard workers, dressed up in uniform, carrying buckets and mops and all that kind of stuff. John, do you remember that?
No.
Well, maybe you weren't in the parade that year, because I couldn't believe my eyes that I see all these city council members out there in their grubbies. That was pretty cool. So you guys got to come up with something really great for the parade this year and include the mayor in it too. Parade weekend is our 2-day summer fest, and we've got great vendors that are signing up for that. the Bridge Blast in Bremerton is going to be the night of our parade on June 24th. Our fireworks is slated for July 1st, and we're hoping that goes off really well this year and a great show. And the vendors are coming on board like crazy for that because the vendors do really good on fireworks night. We have, I heard the figure today, 4,000 on the waterfront from down here to West Bay Center is what the police chief said today. So I thought that was pretty good because I'd never actually heard any kind of account of what the citizenry is when it comes to the fireworks night. So that was pretty good. July, we have our hot rods at the high school. That is going to be on July 16th on a Sunday. And there's also a vendor show that night or that day. And then Hatful of Rain is our band that played last year and they love us. So they're coming back again this year. Concerts is getting ready to kick off that first Thursday in June. And we have a couple of spots left that we're just getting ready to book. And the most distant group coming is from Port Angeles, and they are pleading with us to have them play on the waterfront. So it's a guy and a gal that are coming down and they can really play the guitars. Let me tell you, they're pretty country, but they are so, so good. And we have our wonderful, continuing with us for the third year in a row is our High Rollers out of Tacoma. That's a 7-piece brass band and they are really good. So I want all of you to come down and enjoy the concerts on the waterfront this year. And then climaxing our year will be our Santa breakfast that we always do at the Eagles. And you can have your photo taken with Santa. If you've never had your photo taken with Santa, this is the time to do it. We're not guaranteed of tomorrow, so take advantage of it today. And I want to thank the city most of all for your support financially for the things that Fathoms of Fun puts on in this community. I say that with tears choking me because it's been 34 years of my life that's in this, and the last 13 years has been chairing it, which has been pretty amazing with all the paperwork that comes with it. But I just want to thank you so very, very much for working with us and keeping us alive and well. So thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Fathoms of Fun is a very important part of our community. Not only just here in Port Orchard, but in the entire South Kitsap community. So thank you. All right, moving on. I don't believe we have a public hearing tonight. So we'll get to our business items. Business item 7A is an adoption of an ordinance amending Port Orchard Municipal Code, Chapter 9.6, pertaining to camping on public property and associated procedures. Ms. Archer, I believe this is you.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. Before you this evening is a procedures manual and an associated ordinance related to the topic of unlawful camping occurring on public property. At last week's workshop, we had a lengthy and robust discussion with regards to the city's procedures for clearing unlawful camping from public property when it poses a threat to public health and safety. In addition to those procedures, the city regulates, or excuse me, not in addition to, but primarily the city regulates unlawful camping and dumping of trash and debris on public property through your municipal code titles 6, 9, 10, and 12. And the procedure manual that was presented at the workshop and discussed is staff's work product to implement the regulations that you have that currently exist. Camping is prohibited in park property and on open public property where it poses a public health and safety risk. We work quickly to remediate it and relocate the individuals who are choosing to trespass in that manner. The procedures manual that staff have developed over months of work are cognizant of and representative of the legal framework for this arena. And primarily, the city takes efforts to work from a health and human services standpoint to relocate individuals who are unlawfully trespassing on public property prior to utilizing enforcement mechanisms such as civil penalties or an arrest. And those procedures reflect those efforts. Those procedures also reflect most recent efforts by your mayor to preserve or reserve rather a bed space so that we always can ensure that we can offer individuals prior to enforcement an option of shelter space as opposed to having to pursue penalties or some sort of a criminal penalty. And those procedures again represent work by our staff for the last year or so in this area. In addition to those procedures, the effort of developing those procedures resulted in us identifying some appropriate amendments or some ways to augment your municipal code to ensure that staff have all of the legal tools necessary to enforce. Currently, when we are dealing with unlawful trespassing on unopened public property. So for example, an area that is a stormwater pond that has been dedicated to the city or adjacent green belt that is adjacent to right-of-way. The mechanism by which we utilize to enforce unlawful trespassing is through the existing regulations for dumping and for public urination, public defecation, things that occur in those areas. We currently have an anti-camping regulation that applies exclusively to your open public property, such as your parks. And so the proposed ordinance this evening amends the existing regulations to add a prohibition for closed public property, which again is public property that is not accessed by the public for any purpose. Your parks are open as they're open to the public for day use, but utility facilities, green belts adjacent to rights of way, those are not utilized in the same manner. And this amendment to your municipal code would add an anti or an unlawful camping element to our enforcement in those sorts of public property that is unopened areas. And that is typically, and I think in our experience, these encampments seem to form in either public open space, such as a park, or in green belts or in road adjacent or areas adjacent to opened roadways. So before the council this evening is an ordinance that both makes the amendments I've described, which is specifically adding non-residential public property to your anti-camping ordinance, as well as a provision in the ordinance that is acknowledging receipt and acknowledging the procedure manual that the staff have again developed in conformance with your existing regulations. As we are titling this a procedure document, as it's merely implementing the policy and the codified regulations that you have developed. This is a document that staff hopes to be a living, breathing document that they modify. So we're titling this as an acknowledgement of that procedure manual by the council, as this is a very important topic. We want to make sure that that we have council support as we roll out and implement the procedure manual. So again, 2 actions by 1 ordinance: 1, amend the code; 2, acknowledge receipt and approval of the procedure manual. And I'm happy to answer any additional questions. I know there were questions during the workshop with regards to some aspects of this. One that I had on my list to follow up was related to tiny homes. And in conjunction with the development director, we have confirmed the city does not currently have existing regulations that allow for temporary tiny home encampment configurations. Some agencies and some cities rather and counties have regulations that allow for those, whether they be in church parking lots or on other forms of private property. the city does not currently have those types of regulations to allow those sorts of encampments. But that's absolutely the council's purview if you wanted to ask us to develop that in the future, but that is not something that currently exists. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions about the ordinance or the topic in general.
Okay, Councilmember Clausen.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to adopt an ordinance amending Port Orchard Municipal Code, Chapter 9.60, and acknowledging procedures to implement these amendments and existing regulations pertaining to unlawful conduct on public property.
Second.
We've got a motion by Councilmember Clausen and a second by Councilmember Rosa Pepe. Any discussion? All right, then. No discussion. So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? None. That motion passes. We're on to item 7B, adoption of a resolution accepting sanitary sewer project number 6-5C, the North Sydney Station, documenting certified construction costs and establishing a maximum general facility fee credit granted pursuant to contract C063-21. Mr. Lang.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Good evening, Council. On June 9th, 2021, the City and Sydney Road Apartments LLC entered into a sewer general facility fee credit agreement for sewer system improvements identified as contract C063-21. This agreement required the construction of the North Sydney Lift Station and provided a framework to grant GFF credits to Sydney Road Apartments LLC. Sydney Road Apartments LLC has completed the construction of the North Sydney Lift Station identified as sewer CIP project 6-5C in the agreement. The developer's project proposed to use 30% of this project and was therefore limited to a credit of, sorry, I lost my space there, 70% of $2,500,000 or 1.75 million. Contract C063-21, Section 10 stipulates that Sydney Road Apartments LLC would receive credit equal to the lesser of the following: the sewer facility fee method of $1,750,000, the certified project cost, or the total GFF owed by the developer, which would be $1,841,400. On February 10th, 2022, the city received certified construction cost documentation from Sydney Road Apartments LLC for CIP project 6-5C, showing total expenditures of $3,079,122. The city engineer reviewed these certified construction costs and ultimately approved a lesser certified construction cost of $3,076,122. The engineer's cost estimate for the project, less the percentage of the project used by the development project per section 10A subsection 1 in the GFF agreement, is less than the certified construction cost for CIP project 6-5C. Based on the methodology contained in section 10 of contract C063-21, the maximum GFF credit is $1,750,000. The city wishes to document the maximum approved GFF credit amount granted to Sydney Road Apartments LLC for the construction of CIP project 6-5C. A bill of sale has been provided to the city, and the city wishes to formally accept the dedication of the lift station project associated with CIP project 6-5C. Staff recommends that the city council adopt a resolution accepting the dedication of a North Sydney lift station now known as CIP project 6-5C, documenting certified construction costs, establishing the maximum general facility fee credits granted pursuant to contract C063-21, accepting a sewer easement as shown on Exhibit A, and accepting a right-of-way deed for the sewer lift station as shown on Exhibit B.
Okay, do we have a motion? Councilmember Lucarelli.
Okay, there's a couple of words that are covered up by that. I move to adopt a resolution accepting the dedication of the North Sydney Lift Station known as CIP number project C-5C and authorizing the mayor to execute related documents.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Lucarelli and a second by Councilmember Cucciardi. Any discussion on this topic? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion passes. Excuse me, we're on to item 7C, adoption of a resolution accepting Transportation Improvement Program Project number 2.5C, documenting certified construction costs and establishing a maximum transportation impact fee credits pursuant to contract C 076-21 and accepting a deed for right-of-way. Mr. Lang.
Thank you. On July 13th, 2021, the city and Sydney Roads Apartments LLC entered into a development agreement for impact fee credits identified as contract C 076-21. This agreement required the construction of various transportation improvements, the dedication of right-of-way property, and provided a framework to grant traffic impact fee credits to Sydney Road Apartments. Contract C076-21 also provided a framework for a parks impact fee credit in exchange for the dedication of property for parks use, but accepting park lands and establishing a park impact fee credit value would be done in a separate resolution to be reviewed and discussed at a later date. Sydney Road Apartments has recently completed the construction of a portion of the Sydney Road widening project identified as TIP project 2.05. Contract C076-21, section 12 stipulates that Sydney Road Apartments LLC would receive credit equal to the lesser of the actual costs incurred by the developer as certified by the city, or applicable transportation impact fees due for the project totaling $469,800. On February 10th, 2021, the city received certified construction cost documentation from Sydney Road Apartments LLC for TIP project 2.05, showing total expenditures of $580,084.80. The city engineer reviewed the certified construction costs as submitted, and after review accepted certified construction costs of $580,085. The total impact fees owed by Sydney Road Apartments LLC for the project is less than the certified construction cost for TIP project 2.05. The city wishes to document the maximum approved traffic impact fee amount granted to Sydney Road Apartments LLC for the construction of TIP project should be 2.05. Brandy, there's a scrivener's error there. Bill of sale has been provided to the city, and the city wishes to formally accept the dedication of the frontage improvements associated with TIP project 2.05. A deed has also been prepared for the right-of-way dedication associated with TIP project 2.05. Staff recommends that the city council adopt a resolution accepting the dedication of a portion of the Sydney Road widening project, TIP project 2.05, documenting certified construction costs, accepting a deed for the right-of-way dedication as attached hereto as Exhibit A, and approving maximum transportation impact fee credits.
All right, Councilmember Chang.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I move to adopt a resolution accepting the dedication of a portion of the Sydney Road widening project, Transportation Improvement Program, Project 2.05, and authorizing the mayor to execute related documents.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Chang and a second by Councilmember Rosapepe. Any discussion on this topic? Councilmember Rosapepe.
No, I'd just like to commend Tony for reading both of those into the record. I think that's impressive.
Thank you.
Definitely long. Any other discussion? All right, so all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Nay, that motion passes. We're on to item 7D, business item 7D, adoption of a resolution adopting hiring personnel policy related to the city's practices. Ms. Lund.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. Human Resources continues to review existing city personnel policies and, when appropriate, make recommendations for revisions and adoption of new policies. In the past couple of years, as the city has grown, city employees have changed positions for various reasons. The policies for your consideration tonight are to document the city's practices related to the movement of employees. In addition, we're proposing some policies to document the city's current practice related to implementation of pay range adjustments. The proposed policies tonight document current practices related to promotions, reclassifications, pay range adjustments, and temporary assignments. Policies related to demotions and transfers, excuse me, have not been needed in my time here in the last 4 years, but are proposed to document the city's intentions before those situations arise. These policies were shared with city staff and union representatives to give them a chance to review and comment. So tonight we're asking that you adopt the proposed resolution to adopt and implement these personnel policies, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, we'll be looking to adopt a resolution to approve the hiring personnel policies related to the city's practices. Do I have a motion? Councilmember Cucciardi.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to adopt a resolution amending personnel policies related to promotions, demotions, employee transfers, position reclassifications, pay range adjustments, and temporary assignments as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Cucciardi and a second by Councilmember Lucarelli. Any discussion on this topic?
Mr. Mayor, Pro Tem, just a quick question on on pay rate adjustments and the implementation of such. What the policy indicates is that the staff can go to the mayor, convince the mayor can approve. There's an analysis done. Once that analysis is done, the mayor can implement. So the mayor can approve a salary increase to a position without any council involvement.
Only the council can set the salary. Those ranges are part of the budget document. The minimum and the maximum are set by city council. So to extend beyond, probably maximum is probably of most concern, but only the council can increase the maximum pay range. So that would need to come back to council as a budget amendment.
Okay, I just read this a little different. That
Okay.
suggests that the mayor has that authority. So that's why I question it.
The intention, and I can review this again and make sure that that's clear. The intention is that the mayor needs to be the one to authorize human resources to do the research. Otherwise, I have 6 or 7 or 100 people coming to
Yes,
me
I could appreciate
asking
that.
for a pay raise.
Okay, any other discussion? We'll be voting on a resolution to adopt hiring personnel policies related to the city's practices. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. That motion passes. We're on to business item 7F, adoption of a resolution authorizing the payment of reestablishment and relocation benefits for Venture Charters, Inc.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry.
We
I'm
missed E.
sorry. We missed E. I apologize. Business item 7E, adoption of a resolution approving the contract with KR Homes LLC for the Strouf Water Main Replacement Project. Mr. Lang.
Thank you. The city identified the need to replace the water main on Shrewf Street between Sydney Avenue and Tacoma Avenue, referred to as the Shrewf Water Main Replacement Project. The city budgeted for this water main replacement project in the 23-24 biennial budget. By this resolution, the city council would authorize the mayor to execute a contract with KR Homes LLC for the Shrewf Water Main Replacement Project. Pursuant to the city's procurement policies and procedures, resolution number 036-22, section 5 bid procedures, the city's Public Works Department prepared an invitation bid for this project and solicited bids in the Kitsap Sun and Daily Journal of Commerce on December 16th and December 23rd, 2022. On December 16th, 2022, staff also uploaded the bid documents to the Washington Builders Exchange and the city's webpage. On January 18th, 2023, by the 11 a.m. bid deadline, the city clerk received 11 sealed bids. After confirming that there were no objections made and that there were no challenges to the public opening process, the 11 sealed bids were opened and read aloud by the city clerk. Bids that were received prior to the January 18th, 2023, 11 a.m. deadline and read aloud at the bid opening were as follows. And I don't think unless you want me to read all those. As you'll notice, KR Homes, almost at the bottom as the low bid at $317,542.68. The city clerk prepared a bid tabulation form and the Public Works Department prepared the bid evaluation form, including applicable taxes, labor, equipment, material, and fees. It was determined that the lowest qualified, responsible, and responsive bid was provided by KR Homes LLC. The Public Works Department staff completed the MRSC mandatory bidder responsibility checklist and confirmed that KR Homes LLC's bid of $317,542.68 was the lowest qualified, responsible, and responsive bid. The Public Works Department also reviewed all materials and confirmed that the bidding requirements for this public work have been followed. Staff recommends that the City Council adopt resolution number 004-23, thereby approving contract number C125-22 with KR Homes LLC for the Shroof Water Main Replacement Project contract in the amount of $317,542.68. Applicable taxes included.
Councilmember Rosa Pepe.
Mayor Pro Tem, I move to adopt resolution number 004-23, thereby approving contract number C125-22 with KR Homes LLC for the Shroof Water Main Replacement Project in the amount of $317,542.68.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Rosa Pepe and a second by Councilmember Clausen. Any discussion on this topic? Councilmember Rosa Pepe, or I'm sorry. Councilmember Lucarelli.
Would anyone happen to know what was budgeted for this project?
I believe it was 250,000.
250?
The engineer's estimate was, I believe, 350,000. So it came in under engineer's estimate, but above what we had budgeted for 2023 for water main replacement project. We do have an additional 250,000 in 2024, but some of that is going towards the pottery non-motorized improvements along between Tremont and Hovde, I believe.
Just for the sake of the public, the highest bid was 589,000. So there was quite a difference in all of the bids. There were 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 10
Correct.
bids, which was unusual.
Right. Yeah. And that really depends on what their workload is already. If some of them already have a full workload for the summer and they just throw out a number, and if it catches, then, they're money ahead. So I believe KR Homes was really a private developer as far as installing water mains, that they're really trying to get their foot in the public sector. So that could be also another angle that they have on the low bid.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Clausen.
Yeah, just a quick question. KR Homes where are they out of,
I have no idea off the top of my head. I can find that out for you though. I have not heard of them locally either.
Toliolo,
Sorry.
9591. It looks like Toliolo, Toledo. I'm sorry.
Toledo?
I can't read the handwriting.
Like Ohio?
There's Toledo.
Toledo, Washington.
Oh, there is a
Oh,
Toledo.
98591.
Down by Yelm.
Oh, good.
So that was my question, Mayor Pro Tem. I haven't seen them come up before in 6 years. I don't think, John, you've seen them before either.
No,
so.
that's why I asked.
Correct. Yeah, and as I stated, I think they're more of a private development contractor, not a public sector contractor. So
Have we checked references or anything?
yeah, there's no indication that could exclude them from being awarded the contract at this point. We don't have justification for that.
Okay, any other discussion? We'll be voting on a resolution approving a contract with KR Homes LLC for the Stroke Water Main Replacement Project. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Seeing none, that motion passes. Now we are on to item 7F. As soon as I can get there. Here we go. Adoption of a resolution authorizing the payment of reestablishment and relocation benefits for Venture Charters, Inc., the Bay Street Pedestrian Pathway Project. Ms. Archer.
Thank you. Council, before you this evening is a resolution authorizing the payment of reestablishment and relocation benefits pursuant to the applicable WACs for Venture Charters Incorporated for the Bay Street Pedestrian Pathway Project. I want to start with an apology. It appears the resolution that was included in the packet is a previous resolution, and the correct resolution will be shared on the screen. You'll notice the resolution in the packet contemplated a payment of just moving expenses and reference to voucher. And that document is a previous action the council actually already took. Tonight's action is calling for both reestablishment and moving relocation expenses. And those are distinct categories of eligible relocation benefits that individuals impacted by a public project may be entitled to. So that will be on the screen shortly. So as the council is well aware, with the Bay Street Pedestrian Pathway Project, the city has over the past few months, years, acquired a real property to accommodate this project. One of the parcels that the city acquired was utilized both as a residence and as headquarters for a business. When we relocate businesses, those businesses are entitled under the Washington Administrative Code and the Uniform Relocation Act to benefits, including reestablishment costs, everything from printing new business cards with their new address to modifications to their new facility to accommodate their business. Businesses are also, as are residential relocatees, entitled to moving expenses related to the specific items that the business utilized. In this case, Venture Charters was relocated, and your relocation consultant, Tierra Right-of-Way Services, has been working with them to identify eligible relocation and reestablishment benefits. Reestablishment benefits under the state code are capped at $50,000. And in this case, as the documents that were submitted to council indicate, the potential costs exceed $50,000. So the proposal is for an approval from council up to $50,000, subject to the presentation of adequate documentation to the finance director, which is included in the packet up to $50,000. The relocatee has also asked for what's referred to as an advanced payment. And this is common under the relocation statutes as well. And agencies are permitted to provide an advance payment when the relocatee needs funding to pay the contractor. Typically, the relocation statutes are reimbursement based, but often if there's a hardship to the relocatee, we will advance pay certain benefits and ensure that we get adequate safeguards, including paying directly to the contractor. We'll often do this with residential relocatees who do not have the funds to pay for moving expenses and then be reimbursed. We'll pay the contractors directly with adequate safeguards. So the proposal here is for an advance payment in part of the reestablishment costs to the vendor whose materials are submitted. Again, absolutely capped at $50,000 as to the reestablishment, but the approval would be up to $50,000 based on the documentation presented and paid as an advance payment, at least in part. In addition, as the staff report notes, there were additional costs identified that are associated with move expenses for the business. Council will recall that you previously approved move expenses in the amount of $7,743. Additional work has been done since that payment was made to reconnect certain things and install certain things associated with the business, and those qualify as moving expenses. And so Tierra Right-of-Way is also recommending a payment in the amount of $2,670.50 for additional moving costs. And these are categorized in the statute in separate categories. So that's why they're considered very distinct. So reestablishment expenses up to $50,000 and moving expenses of $2,600. The correct resolution on the screen indicates that the city council is approving relocation payments to Venture Charters, and apologies for how small that appears, in the amount of reestablishment in the amount of up to $50,000 based on adequate documentation being presented to the finance director, and then a payment of $2,670.50 for that additional moving cost as well to Venture Charters. The advance payment would be made to the contractor directly, just to clarify that. So I'm happy to answer any questions associated with this. Staff's recommendation and the recommendation of your relocation consultant is to approve a total of $52,670.50, with $50,000 being the cap of that component.
Thank you. Councilmember Clausen.
To get this on the floor, I move to authorize the payment of $52,670.50 for eligible relocation and reestablishment benefits for Venture Charters LLC as part of the Bay Street Pedestrian Path Project.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Clausen and a second by Councilmember Cucciardi. Discussion, please. Councilmember Clausen.
Fine for you.
Thank you. And I wanted just confirmation. I know you read this or summarized this summary. All of these things have been reviewed by our relocation consultant, our relocation expert, and they have approved all of these as legitimate expenses. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes. So all the relocation claims are dealt with from the relocatee to the consultant. They then submit to the city. I verify them per the WACs, the applicable regulations, staff reviews for the adequacy of documentation. So yes, there are multiple levels of checks, the relocation consultant being the first.
And I think you've answered my question to my satisfaction. This advance payment will be with sufficient documentation and the money is going where it's intended to be spent.
Correct. It will be paid to the contractor directly.
Again, I review some of these things and I'm having a little bit of a tough time with it, but because our resident expert says these are all legitimate expenses, I guess I will support it.
And just to clarify, the standard that you apply under the WAC is actual, reasonable, and necessary. And so the consultant views it through that lens, and there has to be adequate evidence that this is an actual cost that's both reasonable and necessary for the business to become reestablished. That's the lens that they review it through. And they confirmed. Yeah.
I'm having a hard time understanding how Venture Charters needs a hot tub, and that's our responsibility. But again, I'm deferring to our expert.
Councilmember Cucciardi.
Yeah, the question I had is throughout the summary, we talked about that $50,000 of being up to, and I think those costs have to be actual.
Correct.
But in the motion that Councilmember Clausen and read right from here doesn't say up to. We're authorizing a payment of $52,670. Should that be rescinded or modified to say up to based on the reimbursement of up to for that section of $50,000? Should that be changed?
We can. I think that may be helpful to council. So I think it could be, and it's actually the adoption of a resolution. So the phrasing is off on that as well. I apologize. So I move to adopt a resolution authorizing the payment of $2,670.50 for eligible relocation benefits and up to $50,000 for eligible reestablishment benefits for Venture Charters LLC.
With the permission of the second, I would modify my motion to include that language.
I accept as the second. Thank you. That answers my question.
We got that all covered over there? All right, perfect. Any other discussion?
Thanks, Cindy.
Councilmember Lucarelli.
So if you're paying the contractor ahead of time, I'm not quite sure how that works. I mean, do you give a certain percentage?
Correct. Yes, it would be done in installments. Yeah.
I'm guessing that what we're doing is providing a guarantee to the contractor that they're going to get paid.
Correct.
Is there any other discussion on this topic? Councilmember Chang.
I have a comment, which is I too wondered about the appropriateness of the hot tub, but the former business, and they may have had more than one business, was an Airbnb of some kind. And perhaps that was for the use if they're still doing an Airbnb. But what I was puzzled about in the backup is that it seems like there's one vendor, Hedera, DBA Murphy's Heating and Cooling, that is providing a lot of items such as like pavement. And I was thinking, it is not our responsibility to make sure that the estimate is from an appropriate vendor, is it? It's
If I understand the question correctly, I believe that your relocation consultant is verifying that they're a licensed
Okay.
and bonded contractor. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't know if they were estimating for things outside of their scope or if their scope was for more than heating and cooling.
Oh, I see. I cannot speak to that, but I can say with confidence that the relocation consultant has gone line by line. You'll notice on the estimate, for example, the particular WACs that apply to the particular categories are listed. Those are additions done by your relocation consultant. So they've made sure that this doesn't exceed what is appropriate and approved through the WACs.
And as a GC, they can hire subs,
Okay,
right?
okay. Thank you. I don't.
Thank you for clarifying.
All right, is there any other discussion on this topic? Seeing none, we'll be voting on a resolution authorizing the payment of reestablishment and relocation benefits for Ventures Charters, Inc. for the Bay Street Pedestrian Pathway Project. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Seeing none, that resolution passes. We're on to item 7G. New national opioid settlement regarding case number 1.17-MD-2804, United States District Court. Ms. Archer.
Thank you. Council, you will recall in 2022 that your city council approved joining the opioid settlement agreements related to the Washington State Attorney General's office's lawsuit against the opioid distributors McKesson Corp, Cardinal Health, and Amerisource Bergen Drug Corporation. You'll also recall that settlement was derived from a consortium of public agencies across the United States that brought a legal action against manufacturers and distributors of prescription opioids, and as well a parallel action from the Washington State Attorney General's office that was successful in eliciting a substantial settlement in the amount of $518 million for the residents of Washington from those opioid distributors. That settlement was, as to those distributors, was finalized. And now we have a new phase of this litigation. And in February of this year, the Attorney General's office notified eligible cities of an additional settlement against 5 additional distributors of opioids in this national litigation: Teva, Allergan, CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart. The Attorney General's office estimates that the 5 settlements with these distributors could total $434.4 million for Washington State. I can go through the allocations from each defendant, but they range from $120 million from Walgreens down to looks like $50 million from Allergan, and those to be paid over the course of the next 7 to 15 years, depending on the distributor. So Washington cities with a population of over 10,000, such as yourselves, are asked to potentially join the settlement and receive a direct monetary allocation from these settlements, as you did in the previous litigation. Key points to that settlement would be that the $434 million would be split 50% with the state, 50% with local jurisdictions. We can ballpark estimate that your allocation could be somewhere around 30,000 over the next 15 years. in order to participate in this litigation settlement, as you did in the previous, we need council to take action to authorize the mayor to execute a participation agreement in that settlement and any associated allocation agreement and any related documents. As with the previous conversation, since this is the settlement of litigation, I'm happy to exit into executive session if there are specific questions related to the litigation. The information I've provided is all already public record, as the Attorney General has stated all of this in a public setting. But I'm happy to take it into executive session if there are legal risk or litigation specific questions. But we can continue to have the conversation here in the interest of transparency as well, and then exit if we need.
Just a question
Yeah.
on, you said that our allocation could be roughly $30,000.
Yeah, over the next, so
15 years.
if we,
15 years.
the city's
30,000
percentage
a year for 15 years or 30,000 total?
total.
Total.
$2,000 a year.
So how does that work? If the settlement's 400 and some odd million, half of it going to local jurisdictions.
So 217 divided by your percentage. I'm going to try to do the math again,
Oh, got it.
but I think that's a reasonable ballpark.
Okay.
Pull your calculator out.
Number of cities and population,
It's population.
we're way down there. Dropping the
It still
bucket.
seems-
Right, because it is, yeah, your percentage, which is an attachment to the documents that were circulated. That influences the percentage that you're going to recover. And I'm trying to find that number again. But feel free to continue.
Didn't jump out.
All right, so we're discussing,
You want a motion?
please.
Mayor Pro Tem, move to authorize the mayor to execute the participation forms and allocation agreement for settlement of claims with Teva, Allergen, CVS, Walgreens, and Walmart. Excuse me, in the national prescription opioid litigation, and to ratify all actions taken prior to this motion consistent with this authorization.
Second.
Got a motion by Council Member Rosa Pepe and a second by Council Member Clausen. Any discussion on this topic?
Mayor Pro Tem, at this point in time, I would like to ask for an executive session to discuss since we go into possible litigation.
Absolutely. So the council will exit into an executive session pursuant to RCW 4230-110 subpart 1 subpart I to discuss active litigation that the city is currently engaged in. The executive session will be for approximately 10 minutes with action to follow as the agenda will continue.
I just got a couple of quick questions that I think require executive session.
Sure. I'm fine with it.
Sorry.